Good morning. I hereby call to order this 18th meeting of the Pennsylvania Public Utility Commission for the year 2024. We welcome everyone joining us here in the room today, as well as those joining us on a live stream. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. At today's meeting, which is open to the public, the Commission will act on various matters. Since adequate forms have been made available for public participation in cases before the Commission, there is no opportunity for the public to address the Commission at this public meeting. Public meeting motions, statements, and video will be available on the Commission's website later today. The first matter on this morning's agenda is the approval of the minutes of the meeting of November 7th, 2024. I would like to recognize Commissioner Coleman as the editor of the minutes. Commissioner Coleman.
Thank you, Chairman. I have reviewed the minutes of the November 7, 2024 meeting, and I move that they be approved as submitted.
Heard the motion by Commissioner Coleman. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Zerfas. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The minutes are approved by a vote of 5-0. Madam Secretary, we're ready for your presentation.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. Your various bureaus and offices have prepared the following items for your consideration. Therefore, let us begin with matters presented by Director Monahan and the Bureau of Audits. It is recommended that the Commission adopt in an omnibus motion both items on page 1, beginning with the Energy Efficiency and Conservation Program costs for the PECO Energy Company, and continue the omnibus on page 2 to include and end with the transmission service charge for PPL electric utilities, and release all 3 audit reports included in the omnibus to the public.
Is there a motion to consider the staff recommendations?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made by Vice Chair Barrow, seconded by Commissioner Yanora. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. Matters are approved by a vote of 5-0. Madam Secretary.
Turning to page 3 in matters presented by Director Hafner and the Office of Special Assistance, it is recommended that the Commission adopt in an omnibus motion the first item on page 3, the formal complaint of Miranda Edwards versus the Duquesne Light Company, and then pausing in the omnibus to note that the second item on page 3, the formal complaint of Jeffrey W. Smiles versus PPL Electric Utilities, is postponed until the public meeting of December 19th, 2024. Then continuing on the top of page 4 to include both items on page 4 in the omnibus motion, and ending the omnibus with the first item at the top of page 5, the formal complaint of Christopher Himes versus the Philadelphia Gas Works.
Is there a motion to consider the staff recommendations?
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Coleman, seconded by Commissioner Zerfas. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. Ayes have it. Matters are approved by a vote of 5-0. Madam Secretary.
Continuing at the bottom of page 5, it is recommended that the Commission adopt the proposed opinion and order in the application and petition for reconsideration filed by Jose Medina, LLC.
Is there a motion to consider the staff recommendation?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Yanora, seconded by Commissioner Zerfas. Any discussion?
Chairman, I have a motion.
Vice Chair Barrow.
Thank you. Please enter this motion into the record as though I read it in its entirety. On June 11, 2024, Jose Medina filed a limo application. The application was denied for failure to fully comply with a Commission data request. Medina filed a petition for reconsideration of staff action on August 9, 2024, and that petition included additional documentation which appears to attempt to correct the deficiencies in the application. In the petition, the applicant states that he's prepared to provide any further information or documentation necessary. Noting Medina's attempt to provide the requested information, I believe that this matter should be referred to the Commission's Bureau of Technical Utility Services to continue processing the application and allow the applicant an additional 30 days in which to provide the required information. Therefore, I move that the petition for reconsideration from staff action filed by Jose Medina LLC is granted consistent with this motion, that the secretarial letter issued on August 6, 2024 is conditionally rescinded, contingent upon Medina responding with the required information within 30 days, that the application of Jose Medina is referred to the Commission's Bureau of Technical Utility Services for such further action as may be deemed necessary, consistent with this motion, that should Jose Medina not respond within 30 days of the entry date of this opinion and order, the August 6, 2024 SEC letter will be the final action in this matter, and the case would be closed. And finally, that the Office of Special Assistant shall prepare an opinion and order consistent with this motion. Thank you.
Heard the motion by Vice Chair Barrow. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Zerfus. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, no. Motion passes by a vote of 5-0. On the matters amended by the motion, is there any objection to taking the previous roll call? Hearing none, matter passes as amended by motion by a vote of 5-0. Madam Secretary.
Turning to page 6, and matters presented by Director Diskin and the Bureau of Technical Utility Services, it is recommended that the Commission adopt in an omnibus motion both items on page 6, beginning with the petition for a distribution system improvement charge filed by the National Fuel Gas Distribution Corporation and ending with the application filed by Impact Telecom LLC.
Is there a motion to consider the staff recommendations?
So moved.
Motion made by Vice Chair Barrow, seconded by Commissioner Yanora. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. Matters are approved by a vote of 5-0. Madam Secretary.
Turning to page 7, it is recommended that the Commission adopt the proposed order in the application filed by the Pennsylvania American Water Company to supply water service to the New Beaver Borough in Lawrence County, Pennsylvania.
Is there a motion to consider the staff recommendation?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Zerfus, seconded by Commissioner Coleman. Any discussion? I do have a statement in this matter. I will submit my statement for the record. The purpose of this statement is to talk about how utility service impacts economic development. They go hand in hand. This project will bring 1,000 new jobs to Lawrence County, an area in western Pennsylvania that struggles to promote economic development. I just want to remind everyone here today that utility services, energy, goes hand in hand with economic development. We have to remember that when we're here on this bench. Any further comments? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. Ayes have it. The matter is approved by a vote of 5-0. Madam Secretary.
Continuing at the bottom of page 7, it is recommended that the Commission adopt in an omnibus motion the remaining item on page 7, the application filed by Mercury Energy Marketing LLC, and continue the omnibus to include both items on page 8 and all 3 items on page 9, ending the omnibus with the cancellation of certificates of public convenience of certain motor carriers.
Is there a motion to consider the staff recommendations?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Coleman, seconded by Vice Chair Barrow. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, no. Ayes have it by a vote of 5-0. Madam Secretary.
Turning to page 10, it is recommended by Chief Counsel Screven and the Law Bureau that the Commission adopt the proposed order providing the annual Administrator's Report for the Pennsylvania Universal Service Fund.
Is there a motion to consider the staff recommendation?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Yanora, seconded by Commissioner Zerfus. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Ayes have it by a vote of 5-0. Madam Secretary.
Turning to page 11, it is recommended by Chief ALJ Rainey and the Office of Administrative Law Judge that the Commission adopt the recommended decision of ALJ Long and ALJ Coogan regarding the petition filed by the Duquesne Light Company for approval of its default service plan X and a joint petition of settlement.
Is there a motion to consider the staff recommendation?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made by Vice Chair Barrow, seconded by Commissioner Zerfus. Any discussion? I do have a motion in this matter. I ask Vice Chair Barrow to chair the meeting.
Chair DeFrank, you are recognized for purposes of your motion.
Thank you. I ask that my motion be entered into the record as though I read it in its entirety. Before the Pennsylvania Public Utility Commission is the recommended decision of Administrative Law Judges Mary D. Long and John M. Coogan, issued on October 31st, 2024, which approves a joint petition for approval of settlement filed by Duquesne Light Company, the Office of Consumer Advocate, the Office of Small Business Advocate, and the Coalition for Affordable Utility Services and Energy Efficiency in Pennsylvania, in the proceeding regarding the company's petition for approval of its 10th default service plan. The DSP provides for the acquisition of electric generation for default service customers in the service territory, in addition to detailing other characteristics of that service. Beyond the basic energy acquisition schedule, other positive elements of the settlement include an optional extension for Duquesne Light to finalize a power purchase agreement with a solar developer to provide power and alternative energy credits for a portion of its default service load. Overall, the parties to this case are to be commended for reaching mutually amicable terms to resolve the disputed issues. However, I find that one element of the DSP can be improved by Duquesne Light. Time of use rates have not been widely utilized by electric distribution companies in the past, and very few customers throughout the Commonwealth have enrolled in these programs. The Commission-approved DSP currently in effect for Duquesne includes a TOU pilot program available for customers with electric vehicles and their own charging equipment. In the current environment, however, I think a renewed attention on time of use rates is warranted. Default service prices are rising, and concerns about resource adequacy have been raised by utilities and policymakers alike. Given those realities, I believe it is important to use any and all tools available to help customers control their costs. Additionally, time of use rates can help an EDC manage their systems as efficiently as possible. With that in mind, I believe it is important for utilities to refocus their efforts in making time of use rates more accessible to customers. In the DSP before us today, Duquesne Light has proposed a pilot time of use rate that is available to customers who have an electric vehicle and would only apply to usage attributable to EV charging. While the current pilot TOU rate in Duquesne's DSP was deemed reasonable at the time of its approval, I find that the current energy landscape necessitates more fully utilizing Duquesne's advanced smart meter infrastructure to the maximum benefit to customers. In this case, I believe that Duquesne Light should prepare a supplemental filing that would establish a TOU rate available to all residential and small commercial default service customers with a smart meter. Outside the confines of this case, I would also like to see other electric utilities refocus their efforts to increase awareness of time of use rates and ensure that customers understand them and are able to make informed decisions about whether those rates may benefit them. As this settlement is reasonable and in the public interest, I do not want to modify it. I believe that Duquesne's supplemental filing of a TOU rate can be considered separately on an expedited schedule. Ideally, the new TOU rate could be considered and approved in time to go in effect on June 1st, 2025, with the rest of this DSP. Therefore, I move that 1, the recommended decision of Administrative Law Judges Mary D. Long and John M. Coogan be adopted. 2, that within 60 days, Duquesne Light Company shall make a supplemental filing proposing a time of use rate that is available to all residential and small commercial default service customers with smart meters. 3, that should any party take adverse position to the supplemental filing, the Office of Administrative Law Judge utilize an expedited hearing schedule to consider the filing made by Duquesne Light Company. And 4, that the Office of Special Assistants prepare an opinion and order consistent with this motion. Thank you, Vice Chair.
Is there a second on the motion?
Second?
A second by Commissioner Coleman. Any discussion on the motion?
Madam Vice Chair.
Commissioner Zerfus.
I just wanted to mention, so Chairman DeFrank's motion hits a couple of highlights that I think are really timely given that robust conversation that we recently had at the PUC technical conference. At the technical conference, there was a discussion about how time of use rates our integral tool for energy efficiency, which in turn is an integral tool for reliability. So it just behooves us all to take a keener eye on this issue, and I want to thank Chairman DeFrank for doing that. So I'll be a yes on the motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any objections? All right, on final adoption, is there any objection to using the previous roll call? Hearing none, the recommendation is adopted as amended by the motion by a vote of 5-0. Chairman, the gavel is yours.
Thank you. Madam Secretary.
Mr. Chairman, that concludes the regular agenda. Turning now to the carry-in. On page 1 of the carry-in agenda, it is recommended by the Office of Special Assistance that the Commission adopt the proposed opinion and order regarding the default service program filed by the PECO Energy Company and subsequent petition for reconsideration and/or clarification.
Is there a motion to consider the staff recommendation?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made by Vice Chair Barrow, seconded by Commissioner Zerfas. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Ayes have it by a vote of 5-0. Madam Secretary.
Turning to page 2 of the carry-in, it is recommended by the Bureau of Technical Utility Services that the Commission adopt the proposed order in the application filed by Astral Energy LLC to abandon its electric generation license.
Is there a motion to consider the staff recommendation?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Unora, seconded by Commissioner Zerfas. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Ayes have it by a vote of 5-0. Madam Secretary.
Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, that concludes all agenda items to be considered today.
Thank you. Before we adjourn today, I would like to recognize a few of our members for some comments. Vice Chair Barrow would like to discuss our recent Resource Adequacy Tech Conference. Vice Chair Barrow.
Thank you. So last Monday, November 25th, the Commission held a technical conference for the first time in a really long time. And the topic that we tackled or attempted to tackle is electric resource adequacy in Pennsylvania. It's an issue that all of the states in the PJM region are facing, and we were looking to hear from experts about what can the PUC do to facilitate solving this problem. I don't know that we can solve it, but we can put our heads together and come up with some ideas about what can we do to make the situation better. And we talked about the unprecedented load growth that's going on in the region right now. We talked about the fact that our electric generation fleet is turning over, it's transitioning away from historically what has been fossil fuels. That's nothing that is within this commission's purview, but it is something that we will feel the fallout from. So we brought the EDCs in, we brought generators in, both traditional power generators as well as renewables, because they're the ones that are in the queue right now to interconnect into PJM. We brought in advocates, end-use customer representatives, folks from PJM, the PJM Market Monitor, a representative from Governor Shapiro's office, and other thought leaders in the electric industry space. And they were all very forthcoming with their opinions about what can be done. And we're listening. We are accepting comments from any interested parties through January 9th. They can be filed with the Secretary's Bureau. Just look on our website and you'll see how to do that. And we will continue this conversation. But I really wanted to take a minute to thank staff that brought together what I think was a fabulous technical conference. Folks in my office, Diane Ancheff, Christopher McDowell, Kayla Ross, also from Communications, Aaron Margolis and Riley Schaefer. Couldn't have done any of this without you, so thank you, thank you, thank you. That's it.
Thank you, Vice Chair Barrow, and the way this resource adequacy conference came about was Vice Chair Barrow talking to me about it, and I asked her to head it up, and you did a great job along with your staff, so thank you for that. I'd like to now recognize Commissioner Zerfas for remarks on the anniversary of electric competition. Commissioner Zerfas.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So let's take a moment to reflect on this anniversary. In 1994, Pennsylvania policymakers conducted a study on electric competition. That study eventually led to Pennsylvania's Electric Generation Customer Choice Competition Act that was signed into law on December 3rd, 1996 by Governor Tom Ridge, 28 years ago. For those who want to look it up, it's Act 138 of 1996. And so for those of you who follow the legislative process, you know how challenging it can be to go from a concept to implementing a law in just one legislative session. But Governor Ridge had a vision, and he and his vested partners, whether it was those in the General Assembly or those in the industry, prioritized and collaborated on the final product that became law. And at the time, Pennsylvania was only the 4th state to enact electric competition. So the act changed the way that electric power generation was owned by a utility company. It was a catalyst in bringing down electric prices to the national average and increased consumer control and decision-making. The PUC was instrumental in making this act a reality. Today, we are proud of our ongoing work, especially in regard to the shopping website, papowerswitch.com. The PUC is nationally recognized for its electric shopping website, and it has served as a national model in several other states that follow. From the signing of Act 138 in 1996 to the competitive market that we have today, so many individuals and public and private entities have had a hand in shaping electric competition here in the Commonwealth. So we appreciate the vision and the efforts of so many as we think about where we started and how far we have come. So I, along with my colleagues, are proud of the work of the Commission and the work that we continue to do with market enhancements, consumer protections, and of course, consumer education. We thank our PUC staff, past and present, for all these efforts. And I'd like to think that energy competition has served Pennsylvanians well for decades and will continue to do so in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Zerfas. I'd now like to recognize Commissioner Unora for remarks on Pearl Harbor Remembrance Day. Commissioner Unora.
Thank you, Chairman. This Saturday, December 7th, we recognize the 83rd anniversary of the attack on Pearl Harbor. National Pearl Harbor Remembrance Day is observed annually in the United States to remember and honor the 2,403 Americans who lost their lives in Pearl Harbor, Hawaii on December 7th, 1941. As a presidential proclamation delivered December 7th, 1994, the National Pearl Harbor Remembrance Day, we will continue to remember and recognize this important day in the history of this year. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Unora. And then one other matter I'd like to announce, housekeeping matter before we adjourn today. As you know, we elect a vice chair each year. When we elected Vice Chair Barrow last year, well, I guess it was for the remainder of last year and the rest of this year. So in our R&R, or in our executive session yesterday, Vice Chair Barrow was unanimously reelected to the position of Vice Chair for the year 2025. So congratulations, Vice Chair Barrow.
Thank you.
And with that, is there any other business to come before the Commission? Hearing none, we are adjourned.